It's been a minute. It's been a very long, large minute since I have decided to record a video. I don't know if my phone is going to decide that it does not want to record any longer than 30 minutes. So I'm just going to kind of ramble. This is one of the first videos that I will make, basically rambling or ranting or just talking about what I want, kind of like a podcast, but it's not formally known as a podcast. It's not formally, you know what I mean? We have a lot of things that I want to cover. I do have, if you look at my desk, there's a lot of things. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's a, what do you want? You waited clean until I decided to record to say things to the world. Okay, so there are a lot of things that I have here that I want to touch on today. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about. So I think the first thing that I should do is just get into it. Or, you know what? Let me address this first. This channel has, if you hear anything, that is Manboy deciding to take a shit. He is scratching. There are a lot of sounds. Don't mind them. He's scratching in his litter box right now. So if you hear that, that's him. Also, my other phone going off. So, first things first, this channel obviously has been through a lot of changes, and I actually kind of like that. It's kind of slay, kind of cunty, kind of period, where it's just like, it's just been rebranded so many times, and I honestly don't think that it's over being rebranded. So don't get comfortable with how it looks now, because I might change it. I don't know. Fickle mind. So because of that being said, and because I don't necessarily know what this channel is going to be just yet, because it keeps changing so many times, I'm not necessarily going to form an introduction, because I might delete this video. I don't know. So with that being said, over time, I will form kind of an introduction to who I am and what this channel is. Am I ashy? No. Okay. So the first thing that I kind of want to talk about is kind of a serious topic. It's like guilt over decisions, guilt that you may feel over decisions, change in behavior, and relationships that all go into one. So first things first, your decision is valid. I don't care what anyone says. No matter what it is, if you felt like your decision, the choice that you made helped you become who you are now, or just helped you out of a situation that you no longer wanted to be in, that is your choice, that is your decision, and no one gets to make you feel bad for the decision that you made. So if you don't want to be in something, or you don't want to be a part of something, or you don't want to do something, that's explanation enough, because I said no, because I don't want to anymore. So for example, because there's been some things going on behind the scenes. I don't know what's happening. I guess it's over with. I don't know. But I don't have to give you any other explanation or any other closure other than that is what I did. That is what I will continue to do and say that I did. And there's nothing that can change that. And if we went back in time somehow, if Apple came out with an Apple back in time, bitch, if we somehow went back in time and there was a moment in time where I was like, okay, I could choose a different time, I would choose the same one, because that is what helped me at that time. That is what was best for me at that time. And you're not going to make me feel bad about my decision, especially if it was about my mental health, my well-being, and my state of mind, all to do with mental health, of course, but it helped me with the situation that I was dealing with at that time. So you will not make me feel bad for anything that I did, and whether or not you want to continue to talk to me, whether or not you want to, I don't care. And I was very hurt at the time. This is obviously if I'm talking about it, it's because something has happened. I'm not going to say specifics. And if you're watching this and okay, you want to talk about it, okay, let's talk about it. But, or if you want to have beef, I don't know why you want to have beef with me. I don't know why you want to have beef with me, but you know what I mean? But I'm not trying to sound mean or anything when I say that, but like I said, at that time I was in a really dark place, and what was going on was not something that I needed, and I let it go. And it's been years. Anyways, you have the right to say no, and this can go in so many different scenarios and situations. You have the right to say no. You do. So another point in change in behavior, things that I was comfortable with when I was 15, 16, I might be uncomfortable with now that I'm 20, finna be 21 tomorrow. My birthday's tomorrow, guys. I turn 21 tomorrow. Okay, so, and things that I'm comfortable with now, I might have been uncomfortable with before. I could be comfortable with eating something today that I wasn't comfortable eating yesterday. I don't care. Things change, people change, and feelings change too. Or whatever BBL Drizzy said, I don't fucking know. Okay? So, the last thing that I kind of want to touch on, just really quickly, as much as you think your pussy is magic, it is not. And it will not change him, and it won't change her, and it won't change them. Okay? I don't care. I don't care. And I'm tired of seeing it. If your words could not change someone's behavior or the way that somebody acted or how they treated you, your pussy can't. And it may be talented and it may do cartwheels. Okay? But putting it on somebody and having a baby ain't gonna fix y'all relationship. I'm just saying. Y'all are weak in the knees and I need y'all to stand up. Please. I need soldiers. And if someone is disrespecting you, this is literally something I wrote down on a sticky note. And I'm going to read it to you. If someone is disrespecting you, whether in a romantic relationship or in a platonic or familial relationship, you need to set boundaries and stand up for yourself. You deserve better, but you will never get better unless you remove the toxicity. Unless you remove the cancer, it will forever be malignant. It will never be benign. Okay? Never. Ever, ever, ever. I think that is the end of that little rant. That was about 7 minutes and 40 seconds. I think I ran through that fairly nicely. So, I feel like I ran through that fairly nicely. So, next thing we're going to talk about that has nothing to do with that, The Walking Dead. I don't want to hear it. Right. I don't want to hear it. We're going to talk about The Walking Dead, okay? So there's this video that was like The Walking Dead hot takes, right? So there was this video on The Walking Dead hot takes, and I will list them and I will tell you if I agree or not. The first one is season 2 is the best season. I don't really know about that. Okay, I honestly can't really say what is the best season of The Walking Dead simply because I would have to rewatch it and I haven't watched it in years. So, the second one is Daryl is boring in the later seasons. As someone who stopped watching at like season 7, season 8, I know what happens in season 9, but as someone who stopped watching season 7, season 8, I can't really confirm nor deny that Daryl is boring in the later seasons because it has 10 seasons and I feel like he wasn't boring in 7 and 8 when I stopped watching. And I also know that he has a spinoff, so it's like I can agree with that and I cannot agree with that because at one point he is this character that is kind of like a bigoted redneck following along with his brother, and then he has this character arc, and through this arc, so let's say this is the bottom and it rainbows up here. So through this, we have character development. We have a story to follow through. We have a character to start to like. And then once you hit that peak where it's like he is fully developed, now it's just like, now he's just killing zombies. Like this is the same shit that we saw. You know what I mean? Moving on, Neeson, all right, having an aneurysm. Negan in season 10 is better than season 7 and 8. I can't confirm nor deny. Again, I have not watched season 10. I stopped watching around season 7 and season 8. Negan in season 7 and 8, hateable, but also likable. If you actually see the statistics of the show, and I know I'm just like kind of going on a rant about The Walking Dead, I don't care. If you see the statistics of the show, you will actually see that around the time, spoilers, this show has been on for a while, around the time that Negan was introduced and you saw a spike, right? And then when Negan actually killed Glenn and Abraham, because Glenn was one of the most likable characters, when he died by Negan's hand, a lot of people stopped watching, but it also still spiked views because Negan was such an interesting character and people wanted to know what was happening next. So I can't really say for sure, but you know, whatever. Next, season 5 is overrated. I can't confirm nor deny. I think season 5 was Terminus. I think season 5 was like, if I remember correctly, season 5 was like after the after the prison fell and everybody had to evacuate. I think that was when they found Terminus. I think season 5, neither here nor there. Did I like it nor did I not like it? It was okay. Lori isn't a bad character. I agree with that. Lori is not a bad character. She just was written poorly. I feel like she was written poorly and she did things that didn't necessarily make sense. Stupid. Andrea shouldn't have died so early. I didn't like Andrea. And a lot of people are like, well, if you read the comic book, it's a lot better and Andrea's not that bad. I have no doubts. She probably isn't that bad. However, she's terrible in the show and she's annoying. And I felt like she should have died sooner. I felt like she should have died sooner, or she should have had a character arc like Carol, and she didn't. So, don't care. Michonne is a really overrated character. I don't really agree with that. I can't agree nor disagree. A lot of these I'm saying that I can't agree nor disagree, and it's simply because I literally can't. I don't think that Michonne is my favorite character, but I also don't think that she's overrated. So, Shane shouldn't have lived any longer. I don't agree. And I know Shane was awful. Shane didn't care about nobody but Lori's punani and maybe Carl on a good day. He really did not care. But I feel like either Shane should have had a redemption arc, or, and this is a big or, okay? This is a big piece of wood. Dad jokes. I feel like Shane should have either had a redemption arc, or Shane should have he should have been somebody like the governor. Like he should have got away. Maybe he was injured in like the scuffle at the end of season 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. I think it was 2. But or going into season, girl, I don't know. But I feel like he should have lived longer. He should have lived long enough to either us see him be somebody better, or for us to see that he actually like devolved and he found somebody like the governor, or he was like, he could have been Negan. Do you know how, oh my gosh, do you know how, my nose is itchy. Do you know how awful it would have been to see him disappear in like season 2, I think. And then they don't find him again until season 7, season 8, and he's Negan? Girl. The last one for the video of hot takes was Rick was a way better leader than Shane, and I do agree. A lot of people were like, no, Shane was a better leader. I feel like, and I say a lot of people, and I'm putting this on like the comments on the video because people obviously were giving their opinion. I feel like Rick was a better leader in the sense of he used his mind and his bronze, and Shane lacked the mind part. Shane didn't care. Shane's focus was, I don't care about making friends. I don't care about making enemies. You must die because you are in my way. I'm walking and you're in my way and now I must kill you. That was Shane's philosophy. Rick's, like to about season 5, season 6. Because again, season 5, I think is when they go feral. When the group goes feral. Okay. So I feel like Rick didn't have that mentality simply because he was like, I want to try to approach this carefully, but if you can't see what I see, if you can't meet me there, then I'm gonna kill you. So three other opinions was that Glenn and Abraham should not have died, but their deaths were necessary. Carl's death was unnecessary, and Denise should not have died the way that she did in the show because she had potential. For me, I feel like Glenn and Abraham's death was very necessary to move the story, obviously, but I feel like it was very unnecessary in the way that it happened. Like, I feel like it was very unnecessary in the way that it happened and by the person, because now we have to see Negan have a redemption arc. We shouldn't care that Negan has a redemption arc, okay? He killed Glenn. You know? Carl's death was unnecessary. I completely agree with that. Carl's death was very much unnecessary. As much as I did not like Carl because he was just annoying as hell, it just was unnecessary, and it felt like it just was like, let's cut him loose. Because his death was just so sudden. He just got bit and it was just like, okay, so where did this come from, do you think? And also, I didn't really care too much about Denise. Honestly, did I care about Denise? Not that much. Not that much. Okay. So, moving on. Like I said, I'm trying to blow through this because I don't know how long my phone is going to keep recording. And I just kind of am talking about a lot of stuff. So, moving on, I don't think I want to talk about this as much as I want to talk about these poems. So, for context, I started a new class called World Mythology, and we are talking about mythology. This is the second week. Today marks the second week. And last week we had to look at these excerpts here. I printed mine out because I wanted a physical copy so I could do this right here. But we had to look at these excerpts and we had to annotate the pages. And it's 3 excerpts. And I think I want to talk about 2 of them, maybe all of them. The first one that I want to talk about is Bacchus. Hey, I don't know how to pronounce any of these words, okay? And I don't want to hear it. I'm going to spell them and then I'm going to say them, or I will shorten them and abbreviate them because I don't know how to say it. Is that disrespectful? I don't fucking know. But I don't know how to pronounce these words and these names. So if I don't know how to pronounce something, I will spell it and then I will say it how I think it's sounded out or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, Bacchus, Bacchus, transforms Ariadne. I'm going to call her Ari. Bacchus transforms Ari into a constellation. So, I'm going to read the poem, not the poem, the excerpt, and then I'm going to give my thoughts. So, her thus deserted and greatly laminating, Liber embraces and aids in that she may be famed by a lasting constellation. He places in the heavens the crown taken from off her head. It flies through the yielding air, and as it lands, or as it flies, its jewels are suddenly changed into fires, and they settle into their places, the shape of the crown still remaining, which is in the middle between the constellation resting on his knee and that which holds the serpents. What the fuck does that mean? I don't fucking know. No, I have some type of... Okay, so what I have annotated here is that obviously Ari is dying. Our girl Ari, she's not doing too good. She's dying. And Liber, don't know, is at her side to aid. And from this line here, she may be famed by a lasting constellation. He places in the heavens the crown taken from off her head. We can obviously put together that he wants her memory to last. He wants her lasting memory to be something beautiful, something memorable, something great. So he wants her to be a constellation. He wants her to be known, basically. And I have some other things underlined here. This line here is underlined. The constellation is underlined. But come to find out, this myth was, from what I learned in my class, This myth was a way for there to be an explanation as to what is happening, because no one actually knew why the fuck do the stars up there look like a crown? Okay, why do those look like a dipper? I don't know. Why do those look like a lion? Why do those over there look like a hook? You know, it's like they wanted some type of explanation as to why these things were happening, because they didn't know what was happening. They didn't know what's going on. So I think there's another one about Adonis being killed by a wild boar and Venus changing him into a flower. And I do have some annotations here. I guess I could read through this one. The last one here is God, I don't know how to pronounce this. This dude is just like disgusted by women or something, and on this island that he's on, and he decides to live a life of celibacy until he builds a statue of ivory, and he falls in love with this statue that he has made in his image of what a woman is supposed to look like and be. And then he prays to Venus for Venus to change his statue into a real woman, and then it happens and they have a son. So but I think I'm going to do the Adonis one because it's a little shorter, and I have a little more annotated here. So she indeed thus warned him, and harnessing her swans winged her way through the air, but his courage stood in opposition to her advice. By chance, his dogs, having followed its sure track, roused a boar, and the son of Cinyras, I don't know, big C, pierced him, endeavoring to escape from the wood with a wound from the side. So this story to me is a fine story of a man not listening to a woman when she says don't do something. Because who is the lady in this story? Cytherea. I'm so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce any of these words or any of these names. Cytherea is the one that was like, hey, you shouldn't do that. Like, you shouldn't go that way. I'm advising you not to go that way. I'm advising you not to do that. And he's like, okay, and you have tits. I have a dick. I'm going to go hunt a boar. So in my little annotations over here, I basically just say he's tracked down a boar. And with this line, we can know that he pierced it. With this line here that says, his dogs, having followed its sure track, roused a boar, and the son of Cinyras pierced him, endeavoring to escape from the wood with a wound from the side. Immediately, this is where we kind of get more context that he is actually trying to kill this boar, and the boar is like, don't want to die. So immediately the fierce boar, with his crooked snout, struck out the hunting spear, stained with his blood, and then pursued him, trembling and seeking a safe retreat, and lodged his entire tusks in his groin, and stretched him expiring on the yellow sand. I love how they said, in so many words, they basically said this nigga got stretched out. This Adonis. Adonis got stabbed in his groin area by a boar that he was trying to hunt. And he fell out. He was stretched out, dying, stretched him expiring on the yellow sand. He was laid out, dying on the ground. So, yeah, so I just basically wrote here what is being said just in layman's terms. The boar is trying to escape the spear, and in doing so, the boar actually rams back into Adonis because, like, how dare you stab me? Now I'm going to stab you back. So, and he is dying. He's dying. Cytherea, borne in her light chariot through the middle of the air, had not yet arrived at Cyprus upon the wings of her swans. She recognized afar his groans as he was dying and turned her white birds in that direction. So she actually hadn't made it anywhere. She just heard him like crying and groaning and shit. And she was like, oh shit, this boy, I told him. And so she had to turn around. So, and when from the lofty sky, she beheld him half dead and bathing in his body Bathing his body in his own blood, she rapidly descended and rent both her garments and her hair, and she smote her breast with her distracted hands. So she's freaking out. Okay, she's freaking out. She's like, hey, he's dying. I don't know what to do. I can't help him. So, and complaining of the fates, she says, and this is a mighty big little portion here, so I'm going to try to read it without stuttering. So, sorry. And complaining of the fates, she says, but however all things shall not be in your power, the memorials of my sorrow, Adonis, shall ever remain, and the representation of thy death, repeated yearly, shall exhibit an imitation of my mourning. But thy blood shall be changed into a flower. Was it formerly allowed thee, Persephone, to change the limbs of a female into fragrant mint? And shall the hero, the son of Cinyras, if changed, be a cause of displeasure against me? Having thus said, she sprinkled his blood with, I don't know how to pronounce this word, odoriferous nectar, which touched by it effervesces just as the transparent bubbles are wont to rise in rainy weather. So basically she's just saying, she's praying to Venus and basically saying, I want him to have a lasting memory. I want there to be a lasting memory of him. I want him to not have died in vain. So, she wants there to be a memory of Adonis. And so she's like, please just do something with his blood, change his blood into a flower that can be, memorized by him, I guess. And the whole Persephone thing, I kind of took that. I don't necessarily know, and I wasn't necessarily corrected, but I take this as saying if Persephone was allowed to once change the limbs of a woman, then there should be some type of lenience towards changing the blood of Adonis to a flower. And by the end of it, I'm not going to read the rest of it because I don't want to. But by the end of it, his blood is actually turned into a flower, and it's described as being the same color from within what it sprouted from, and being described as the color of pomegranates that won't bear in that area that he just died in. But the flower actually is like destroyed by strong winds. And I wrote on the side, just as the flower sprung from the blood, it was destroyed by the strong wind. The flower, as it's slender, could represent the man, and the strong winds could represent advice or reason. And I kind of wrote man's folly, which I don't necessarily know the full definition of what man's folly is. So we're going to look it up right now. What actually does man's folly mean? And does it apply to what I just said? So, man's folly, because that's a thing. Lack of good judgment. Man's folly refers to a lack of good judgment or doing something stupid. Like not listening to someone and then getting stabbed in the nuts by a boar. It can be an activity or idea that shows a lack of judgment and often leads to negative consequences. The phrase highlights human fallibility and the tendency to make unwise decisions. I was right when I said man's folly. It makes sense. I guess in my analogy, like me saying that the flower as it's slender could represent the man, which the flower is the man, which it was from Adonis's blood. So I guess that could be the flower is the man, it's slender, and the strong winds can represent the advice or reason that was given, but not heeded, which resulted in man's folly. Look at us learning something new today. So the last poem is actually quite a doozy. So I'm not going to read it because it's very long, but I did annotate it. It's very long. It's not very long, but it's long enough to where I don't necessarily want to read it because we're already 30 minutes in and I kind of want to talk about something else that I had to read. So with that being said, we're going to switch over to something else, which is a book that I recently purchased. For the longest time, I have told myself that I wanted to learn about Dante's Inferno. What I did not know was that there were actually 3 well, two other parts to the Inferno that all make up the Divine Comedy, which is what I have right here, the Divine Comedy. So the Inferno, the Purgatorio, and the Paradiso, or Purgatory and Paradise, is what makes up the Divine Comedy. I did not know that. And so I purchased this, and I'm barely in it. Like I said, it's a bit of a difficult read for me. I'm trying to become a little more educated and to learn a few more things. So it's a bit of a read for me, seeing as it's old words. It's old words, and not only is it old, but it's translated from old Italian to English. So it's like there's such a disconnect. But I did start. Yes, sir. But I did start annotating. And I kind of want to talk about that, but I don't think I'm going to talk about it at this moment. One part that I do really want to talk about is the three monsters that he actually encounters, Dante being that he actually encounters as he's trying to get out of the darkness that he finds himself in once he wakes up. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, which is right here. It's basically, it has like how to read Dante, an introduction, a note from the translator. Like, it's just a bunch of fuck shit before you actually get to the meat and potatoes. But they give you this synopsis, and I highlighted this because this is the only bit that I highlighted, by the way, and I read this part through and through, but I wanted to kind of talk about this because it has such a symbolic, obviously it's symbolic, it's Dante, it's Dante's Inferno, but I just kind of wanted to talk about it and how I felt about it and what I got from it. So I'm just going to read from where I highlighted and then kind of give my thoughts. So the sinner has realized he is in darkness. He has seen the light. He ardently desires it, and he races to be received by it. So this is him. When you go to the first poem, it says, the first part of the poem is, midway in our life's journey, I went astray from the straight road and woke to find myself alone in a dark wood. How shall I say what wood that was? I never saw so drear, so rank, so arduous a wilderness. So he wakes up. This is talking about the first poem, obviously, but he wakes up and he is like, where the fuck am I? It's dark as hell. I'm scared. And then he sees this light, which you can see from, this line right here. I think it's 15, starting at line 16. It says, its shoulders glowed already with the sweet rays of that planet whose virtue leads men straight on every road, and the shining strengthened me against the fright whose agony had racked the lake of my heart through all the terrors of that piteous night. So that is basically where we kind of find ourselves right now. So he sees the light and he's trying to run to it to be received by it because he's enveloped in this darkness. But salvation is not to be held that easily. Dante finds his way blocked by three beasts. Lost my place. Can't see. There is a she-wolf that represents the sin of incontinence. So, what does incontinence mean? Incontinence. Usually incontinence is used in a medical sense or a medical term. If you are a woman and you like have your period and you track it on like Apple Health or something, one of the symptoms, or one of the, I guess you could say symptoms, one of the things that they will ask you is, are you experiencing bladder incontinence? And that's basically, you cannot control your bladder. But that is not the incontinence that we are talking about, and I can't necessarily, so I will just refer to this type of incontinence as a loss of control, because that is essentially what incontinence is in the grand scheme of things, or medically speaking. Incontinence is not being able to control something and it just happens freely. So the she-wolf, and there's a better explanation as to incontinence when we get further down. So the she-wolf that represents the sins of incontinence, a lion that represents the sins of violence and bestiality, and a leopard that represents fraud. Okay, so the three beasts therefore represent the total blindness of which the world is capable. So in there, you can kind of, these three beasts are actually the three categories in which all the sins fall in the world. Follow me. There's a lot happening here. Follow me. There's a lot. So, in the hell of the she-wolf are punished the sins of excessive animal appetite. So, excessive animal appetite. Write that down. Write that down. In the lower hell, the hell of the lion, are punished the sins of bestial violence. Okay. Write that down. So in the lowest hell, the hell of the leopard, are punished the sins of fraud. Whose then the sins of bestiality, because they involve the perversion of the higher gift of intellect, a beast, that is to say, can murder, but only a rational being by perverting the gift of rationality can commit a fraudulent act. What the fuck does that mean? I don't know. Let's figure it out. So what intrigued me wasn't necessarily the she-wolf and the lion, but the leopard, because there was so much there given that I was like, what does this all mean? So the hell of the leopard are punished the sins of fraud, right? Worse than the sins of bestiality. So the sins of fraud, if you remember the sins of the lion in that hell, you are punished for bestial violence. So like bestial violence is like, I don't know, because I would think that bestial violence is something along the lines of like murder, right? Bestial violence. Bestial violence. What does that mean? Can we get a... Okay, so I'm just getting definitions for bestial, which, it's fine. So, bestial, of or like an animal or animals, savagely cruel or depraved. So with this, and this is defined by the Oxford Languages Dictionary. So with the second one, savagely cruel and depraved, bestial and barbaric acts. So we can assume that in the hell of the lion are punished the sins of, and also this is based off of like the 7 deadly sins, I do believe. So you can kind of see that the bestial violence can be represented as someone who is doing vile acts, someone who is being cruel, animalistic. But then we get to the hell of the leopard. And so, worse than the sins of bestiality. So you are doing something much worse than being cruel and depraved. Because they involve the perversion of the higher gift of intellect, a beast, that is to say, can murder, but only a rational being by perverting the gift of rationality can commit a fraudulent act. I take that as him saying beasts are intellectual, but they do not have the gift of being rational. They are not a rational being. They can't necessarily think. For them, it is be an animal, because that's what I am and that's what I was born as. But to be a human and to commit these acts that are worse than bestial violence, you are by then perverting the gift of rationality, committing a fraudulent act of bestial violence, because you are not necessarily a beast. Does that make sense? You are not necessarily a beast, but you're okay. That's how I see it. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that because that was really interesting and I really liked it. Because again, this whole thing goes on about the 7 deadly sins and Dante's journey descending through hell, ascending through purgatory, and then finally reaching paradise, which is to be with God in heaven. So I want to go back to the beginning of the poem. I did not, like I said, well, the beginning of the first canto, which canto means song in Italian. If you were wondering. But this is how far I've gotten. There are, I think, 2 more pages front and back of this first poem, but this is how far I've gotten in annotating the first little bit. So not very far, but I had to do my schoolwork and things like that. And I just got this book literally. So like I said, we've already read up to this part. So midway in our life's journey, I went astray from the straight road and woke to find myself alone in a dark wood. How shall I say what wood that was? I never saw so drear, so rank, so arduous a wilderness. Its very memory gives a shape to fear. Death could, this is on to the next page now. So death could scarce be more bitter than that place. So I kind of wrote here, right here on this little sticky note. Dante has never seen anything as scary as the darkness that he wakes in. He expresses how much fear the darkness instills in him, and even expresses how death itself could be less frightening than the dark wood that he found himself in. So from him saying, starting back at the beginning, starting over here, from him saying, how shall I say what wood that was? I never saw so drear, so rank, so arduous a wilderness. Its very memory gives a shape to fear. Death could scarce be more bitter than that place. Death could scarce be more death. He's literally saying, I would rather be dead, unmoving in the ground, than to be stuck in a darkness like this. And maybe I'm wrong. And I don't want to hear anything in the comments if I am wrong. And if you are just suddenly so cultured and educated in Dante's Inferno, I'm interpreting it how I want to interpret it and how I want to read it. There's so many different interpretations and there's so many different ways that people think. And I think differently. So I like that. And that's what I thought. So also this line that I read earlier, starting from 16, where I read about the glow, the light that he saw, its shoulders glowed already with the sweet rays of that planet whose virtue leads men straight on every road. What planet is he talking about? That planet is the sun. He's talking about the sun. So wherever he's at, he sees the sun. So I don't necessarily think he's dead just yet. He might be dying. He's probably dying, but he sees the sun somewhere. So, and then underneath there, like I said, I'm not finished. When I finish, because I think I want to make this a series because this is very interesting to me. So when I finish annotating the first poem, I will make a video talking about the first poem and so on and so forth until I finish Inferno. And then we move on to Purgatory. So stop it. So, all right, man boy. So this part here where I have a heart, it's just like me underlining. I'm not going to read it. I'll save it for the next time because there's one more thing that I want to, well, maybe a few more. I don't know. I'll save it for the next time, but that was, I just love how he describes things. I love how it's described in this book. And I don't know if that was if these are the exact translations or just something similar, something close. I love how it's described. And I'll talk about that more at a different time. So the next thing, next on the docket is, this is all over the place. And I understand that, but I just kind of want to talk. This is all over the place. Sourboys sour candy, which I will grab a bag of because I bought this candy because I love Caleb and I love supporting YouTubers that I like. So it comes with a little strawberry butt. So I want to talk about Sourboys candy. I recorded a video where I was talking about Sourboys candy before, and it was supposed to be one of these like long talk rant videos that you can put on like 1.5 times speed and just like go about your day. But I didn't like it, and like I had on the Sourboys suns out buns out shirt and everything. I just didn't like it, and so I ended up not posting it. So I'm gonna talk about it again. So I don't like this candy. Let's just start there. I love Caleb. I really do. And I love supporting my favorite YouTubers. As you can see, I love Brittany Broski. So I'm supporting her and I'm wearing this huge hoodie that I got in 4X, even though I wear 2X because I wanted to. So I don't like the candy, and I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the fact that I can't eat the candy. It's not even that I don't like the candy, it's that I can't eat it because it has palm oil in it. If you don't know what palm oil is, Alex, go ahead and pull up palm oil for me. Hey, Google. Google, show me this guy's balls, please. Palm oil is an edible vegetable oil derived from the mesocarp, or the reddish pulp of the fruits of oil palms. Okay? It doesn't really have a taste. It kind of just tastes like a carrot or like dirty carrots or something. And it's usually orange. If you know Nigerian people or you are Nigerian, you use red palm oil, which is like an orangish color, kind of like and it kind of smells and tastes like a carrot. So, palm oil, I don't know why it does this, but palm oil to me makes my head hurt. I could smell palm oil and my head can start hurting in here. And then if I eat it, 30 minutes later, I will have it just feels like a big ass tumor, just pumping, pulsating. And it's so uncomfortable. And I don't know why it happens. And I can't eat food with palm oil in it. I can't eat candy with palm oil in it. I had some melatonin gummies that had palm oil in it. Can't eat that. Had to give them away and get a different one. So, I mean, and it's a nice candy. I don't really think that and I did eat it because I didn't know that it had palm oil in it at first. And I bought so much of it that I had to give it away. But I did keep a few sealed bags because I want souvenirs. I want to know that I purchased something and it means something to me. It's important to me. So I wouldn't say that it's super sweet, nor is it super sour, because it's supposed to be Sourboys, sour candy. It's not necessarily super sweet, nor is it super sour. I like it if I was okay with eating palm oil, you know. The taste wasn't bad. Like I said, I did eat it. I had a massive headache 30 minutes after I ate it. 5 minutes after I opened the bag, my head was already pounding. And then 30 minutes after I ate it, I couldn't see. So I had a fucking migraine. So I don't know. The taste is fine. It is made with wheat flour instead of like a pectin or a gelatin, which I can understand because pectin is something that stiffens things. It's like a fruit thing that let's just look it up. Alex, pull it up. Pectin is girl, I'm not finna say all this shit. Basically, it's put in stuff to thicken it. So if you want to make jellies or anything like that, jellies, jams, things like that, it's used to congeal and curdle something and make it thick. That's what a pectin is. And then gelatin actually is something similar. It's something that can stiffen something completely, which would be ideal. However, it is made from the skin, bones, and tissue of animals such as pigs, fish, horse, chickens. It's made with collagen because those things can stiffen. So, you know what I mean? So I can understand the disgust, and I can understand people with certain beliefs in religious practices not wanting to ingest your product because it has something like that in it. So I can understand. However, that is what I can eat, and that is what I'm okay with eating. I'm not okay with eating palm oil because I just can't eat it. So, and wheat flour, after you get that little flavor out, it's kind of like chewing. Have you ever chewed gum for too long and it just lost flavor? Yeah, that's how it tastes. But made in Texas, certified sustainable. Palm oil is actually very, very terrible for environments and stuff like that, like the environment and how people receive it. So it's harmful to get it, but I think he gets his sustainably sourced, which I think it's on the back of this bag. Yeah, it says it's sustainably sourced. So other than that, I don't know. It's not my favorite. I love this. This is my favorite thing from what I bought. Love this. Love this monkey on here. Love it. So that's all that I will be, because I wanted to make a review on it, and then I was like, I don't feel like dedicating a full video to that because I'm just gonna be mean. But it's not necessarily me being mean, it's just me saying I don't like it as much as, and I actually tried to really like it, and I bought so much of it. So I'll still support you. I probably won't buy any more, but I did buy a lot. Each bag, I think I bought 9 bags of candy. 9 bags of candy. This cup, 2 crop top t-shirts, and a hat. So I spent a good amount of money. So supporting. Okay, moving on from that. Like I said, I just wanted to mention Sourboys. Caleb, I love you. I love you, bro. Let me come work in your factory, bro. Let's be friends, bro. Fly me out, cook me a meal, bro. You know, he has that thing where he's like, you can come on down. I'll fly you out. I'll pay for your flight. Let's have an interview. I love Caleb. Anyways, the last thing that I want to talk about, because we have been talking for 51 minutes and 11 seconds. So the last thing that I want to talk about is this song by Taylor Swift. I think at the end of every video, at the end of one of these, because taking inspiration from Brittany Broski, at the end of every one of these, I think I will do kind of like a deep dive or recommend a song. I'm only doing a deep dive into this song because it's based off of, or it's not based off of, but it was inspired by and written for a movie and also a book called Where the Crawdads Sing. If you don't know what a crawdad is, it's actually a crawfish. Crawdad. It's a crawfish. It's a crustacean. Yeah, it's a crayfish. Yeah. Crayfish are freshwater crustaceans belonging to the infraorder Astacidea? Medea? Which also contains lobsters. Okay. So, a crawdad is just a crawfish, basically, if you're familiar. It's just a crustacean. So, and they don't actually sing, but they make like little chirping noises, and so that's why the book in the movie is called that, basically. So, anyways, this song has been stuck in my head for so long. I am not a Swiftie. I like some of her songs, and I don't like some of her songs, but this one has me in a chokehold. I sing it in the shower. I just love it. So, I basically, like I said, I was not kidding. I wrote down Am I going to go over all of this? Probably not. I wrote down all the lyrics and kind of gave my explanations as to what I felt some of the things meant. All I can say is I really recommend this song. It's a pretty song. I like it. It feels like someone like Reba or like, I don't know, Dolly Parton should sing. Because whenever I sing it with a country accent. I sing it like I'm Dolly Parton. So that's what I recommend going to listen to. I don't think that I'm going to get into it this time because this video is already very long. So I don't think I'm going to get into it this time. Maybe at the beginning. I will recommend a song at the end of every video. However, in the next video or something like that, I will do a deep dive into this song and what the lyrics mean, and also talk about the book and the movie because that's important. So I'm not just going to talk about the song because I like the song. I'm going to talk about it because it actually is important, and it references things that happened in the book and in the movie. So, man boy, please be careful. So that is all that I have to say. I'm pretty sure. Go listen to the song, do your homework, and then in the next video, next week, I will quiz you. I will quiz you. No, but I will talk about it, and I'll talk about the book and the movie and what happens in it. And yeah, and I'll have a lot more things to talk about next week. So this was fun. This was fun. It's just me talking. It's just me running my mouth, bro. Come on, bro. It's just me running my mouth, bro. Also, what I recommend, go watch Mika's Rhetoric. I just found her channel. Love her. I do have to put it on 1.5 times speed, and that's because I have to put everybody on 1.5 times speed because I don't like slow talkers. And I'm going to put my own video on 1.5 times speed because I talk slow. Like, I'm a slow talker as well. So, but I do recommend going to watch her. I'm going to watch this video right here that she has on. She talks a lot about rhetoric and applies it to, you know, things that she does in internet drama somehow. Like, she draws in like ethos and argumentative approaches and things like that. And I love that because she's teaching me. She's learning me. She's learning me. So I would recommend going to watch her channel. I'm not going to recommend a channel at the end of every video, I don't think. But I do recommend her channel. She's very lovely. And I would love to have a discussion with her one day. But anyways, or possibly make a friend. Anyways, that is all that I have for today. I'm 56 minutes into this. If you think I'm editing this, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. But yes, I had so much fun just yapping with you. And I hope to see you next time. I'm not going to say when. I just hope to see you next time. Maybe next week. I don't know. I don't have a schedule. I don't have a plan. I'm just going with the flow. Anyways, I love you so much. And I hate ASMR. I'm not even going to do that to you. I love you so much. And yeah, that's it. Bye-bye. Man, boy, say bye. Man, boy, say bye. Of course, he won't say bye after he's been talking this whole time. Whatever.